teaching at Cheap Joe's this week, and I'm doing the Illustrated Journal. And I thought it would be fun to share a few of the struggles I've noticed that other people have that I have too in designing a page. So I'm going to share a few tips. The way that I draw is I do not determine the format first. I start with a design, and once my design is about 2/3 complete, then I determine the format. So when you're thinking about a format, you have only a few choices, really. First, I can start with either a square, a vertical rectangle is called a portrait, or a landscape, and a horizontal, and the final one is a panorama. So when I look at my image and I'm about 2/3 done, that is when I start to determine. I like to play with breaking out of the format. So this one's just at the drawing stage, but what's really handy is I keep a piece of just very light acetate in my sketchbook, and if I'm uncertain about the format, this is where I draw. I can maybe come in here and think, well, maybe I should have done a square. I can play with it on here, and if I didn't like that, all I have to use is just a Kleenex, wipe this off, and then I can play around with other design formats. So obviously I use this before I do the drawing, but that's just a good way to start without getting hung up. Have lots of options. So from here, I want to show how I also use the acetate on top of my sketchbooks to determine where my greatest center of interest should be. There's something that's very common in the art world that is called the intersection of thirds. And if you take a format, and I'm going to use the landscape we just talked about, and I break this into equal portions of thirds, thirds here, that my greatest place to have a center of interest is going to fall within one of these 4 areas. So I want to show you with one of my sketchbooks how this applied. So let me put this on top, bring my sketch back into the picture. When you look at this now, this is the landscape right here being broken into 9 equal squares, and when you look right here where the door is my greatest center of interest. So that is the intersection of thirds, how it worked on that page. If you use this early on in your drawing, it will save you from having something that is too close to the center, too far off to the sides. It's kind of a safety net of making sure you're designing well. Here's another page. Now without the overlay, you can start to look, and if you think of the thirds will be here or be here, you can see it's right there. Simple, simple, not too much activity, and the eye rests right here. Another example is something as simple as a still life, okay, with this floral. Area is simple through here. Right here could actually work, but this is my favorite point. So it's higher on this one. My last page, it was down lower. And then on this sketch, you can see it's even low on this side. So not getting stuck with doing it in the same place every time. So this is meant, if you bring this overlay on top, take this off, and look again, you can see that it is falling close enough to that area right there. So it has worked. Overlays are a great tool. It will save you making the wrong design early on, and it's so convenient, so easy. So hopefully this has been a helpful tool and it will help you in your sketching. Thank you.